Welcome to Let's Set Your Table, the food service and hospitality podcast that brings you the experts, trending news, and product reviews from across the industry. So grab a chair with your hosts and join us as we set your table.
In this episode, John D., Jack Hody, and myself caught up with Rich Rosenberg, president and owner at PBI Sales. Rich is an industry expert and has been in the paper packaging industry for almost 50 years. Rich and his brother Michael bring a robust line of different paper products, as well as different types of paperboard and corrugates for various food packaging applications. Rich also shares the current state of paper as a resource and commodity and the different factors affecting today's availability in the marketplace and price.
Paper's back in, man. Paper is back in.
No question. New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, foam is out. Plastic bags are out. So you really see a increase in the demand for paper, but the biggest user of packaging is a company called Amazon, and their business is way down. So the biggest paper mills who all supplied Amazon are now out looking for new business.
That makes
sense.
sense.
In the past 3 years, they didn't do that. And so because their business is off, there's more supply.
This segment certainly delivers us a food paper packaging 101 brief on how the different paper substrates and materials are best used. So if you want to understand paper containers, food paper packaging, and all things related to paper, from basic clamshell ideas to customizable items, their uses, and to-go options for your operation, then tune in to this episode because it's all here on the table.
Well, welcome all to yet another episode of Let's Set Your Table. I'm your host, John D., and I'm joined today with my co-hosts, Nick D. and Jack Hody's back in the house with us today. What's going on, Jack?
Today, paperboard. It's a
paperboard
thing.
There's a lot going on.
That's right.
Got a full house today.
Well, we're glad you guys are with us today, but we have a special guest that's joining us. And before we get into that interview, we certainly want to take a moment and give our sponsors credit for this episode.
This episode of Let's Set Your Table is brought to you by the Hody Group Chicago Showroom. The Hody Group offers professional broker services in the food service and hospitality industry with over 40 years experience. The Hody Group's product showroom boasts over 4,000 square feet of some of the best product lines in the industry. So if you're interested in scheduling a free in-person or virtual appointment with a product specialist, please visit hodegroupshowroom.com. That's HODE groupshowroom.com.
Well, joining us today at the table, fellas, we have Mr. Rich Rosenberg. We are so excited to have him here. He's stopping by and going to spend some time with us today. Rich is a good friend, also a manufacturer partner of ours. He's the president of PBI Sales, and he is an absolute expert in the paperboard and corrugated packaging industry. Rich, welcome to the table.
Well, thank you very much, John, Jack, and Nick, for having me. Fire away.
Great. We have got a great agenda for you today. A bunch of questions we want to ask. So, Rich, if you could please just kind of give us an overview for those operators listening that may not know who PBI Sales is or are, can you tell us what value you bring to the operator in the industry?
Well, I have been in the box business, as I like to call myself, a box peddler, since 1974. I'm in business with my younger brother, Michael, and our dad started the business. So I've been doing this for almost 50 years. I have experience both in paperboard packaging and corrugated packaging, and we can share that knowledge with our customers. We have gone from the selling brown shipping containers like you would get from Amazon to strictly focusing on food packaging for takeout, grab and go, delivery, catering. That's been our focus. And we have a large catalog of stock items that we carry, and we also manufacture custom-made boxes for the food industry.
Fantastic.
We can run both small and large quantities. Obviously, the more you run, the cheaper the box, but we do offer that. We have great sample makers. We can offer you mock-ups, and our business really is focused in the food industry.
Great. 49 years. Jack Hody, he's got you beat.
Yeah, he does. Not many people, I'm old. I'm not over the hill, but I can see the top from where I'm standing. That's for sure.
And Rich, this has been I'm taking it a family-run business for those many years, right? And longer.
Correct. My dad actually started working for my mom's father when they got married in 1949. My father was done with the service. He then worked for my grandfather, who owned a corrugated box factory in New Jersey.
In Jersey. So, okay.
Yes.
Great.
So, Rich, let me ask you regarding raw materials that are important and prevalent in the box industry. Current availability. Tell us just a couple sentences on current availability, and if you can share any type of pricing information for some of the paperboard and corrugated paper.
Currently, paperboard is gone from 12 to 15 weeks. You can get paperboard from the mills in about 5 weeks.
Wow, that's great.
Corrugated, on the other hand, you can get in 2 weeks. At the height of the pandemic, we were quoting 20-week delivery on some paperboard items and 9 weeks for delivery, and this is for finished product, in 9 weeks. And today in corrugated, you can get finished products in 2 to 3 weeks tops. So things have changed dramatically. And the cost of paperboard has not really come down much at all, where corrugated has come down between 11 and 15%, depending upon what mill you buy from and how much you buy. But on average, it's down $70 a ton, and that translates between a 1.5% to 2% per $10 reduction. And I think it's going to go down further. Why? Nothing works better than supply and demand. And in the box industry, the demand has dropped since the height of the pandemic. So that's really, supply is there and prices are coming down.
So, Rich, you would say that in the foreseeable future, the market will be more soft than rising. Is that correct?
Correct.
What a change, huh, guys?
That's
what
great news.
That is great
and
news.
I love those lead times on corrugated. 2 weeks. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the biggest issue that we face here at the Hody Group, especially the different markets we serve, Jack's up in the Midwest and Nick and I are down in the Southeast, and we represent you, Rich, pretty much through the whole country. This whole ban on foam and choices for foam replacement, paper's back in, man. Paper is back in.
No question. New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, foam is out. Plastic bags are out. So you really see a increase in the demand for paper, but the biggest user of packaging is a company called Amazon, and their business is way down. So the biggest paper mills who all supplied Amazon are now out looking for new business.
That makes
sense.
sense.
In the past 3 years, they didn't do that. And so because their business is off, there's more supply.
Thus, your previous answer on price.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And right. Rich, maybe this is a good segue point because you mentioned a couple words earlier about corrugated, and we have a listening audience that some people may not even know the difference between these. And I think it's important before we go any further, if you can you explain, first of all, what corrugated boxes are compared to just if there's a difference between raw paper and corrugated, and then can you explain a little bit about the performance if there's operators out there that are interested in using paper for their takeout programs?
Corrugated is generally 3 pieces of paper that are laminated together. So you have the outside liner, the inside liner, and the flutes or the corrugation. Paperboard is 1-ply paper. And so paperboard is used in the cosmetic trade, in the food trade, when you would go into the frozen food department. Those are generally all paperboard boxes. Corrugated, you get a box like from Amazon, those are all corrugated boxes. and they're meant to, on average, hold about 30 to 40 pounds on a standard box. The benefit of paperboard is you print better, where in corrugated, it's a more coarse paper and it doesn't print as well, but you need the strength.
Rich, can I stop?
Sure.
Can I enter here a little bit? Thank you. Regarding that strength, that's an important subject for the operator and as well as the actual customer eating the food. And that has to do with fluting in the corrugated. And I understand there's certain types of flutes that provide different types of strength. Is it just strength, or does it help insulate? Can you give us just a few short moments on the on the flutes as well? And when you're finished with that, can you go right into grease and barrier protection products?
Great question.
I'll go back to Amazon. Most Amazon, corrugated, who invented the lettering system because it's not in order. But the most common box that you would get from Amazon is sea flute. That's about 1/4 of an inch tall, in between the two liners, rather, the outside and the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So most shipping boxes are sea flute.
Rich, is that the letter C? Sea flute?
Letter C, yes.
C as in Charlie.
Right.
Yep, thank you.
Then we go to something called E-flute. Now, E-flute is, there are more flutes to the inch, but they're not as tall. So that's used a lot in the pizza industry, especially in the New York market, not so much in Chicago, because you guys have deep dish pies and we like thin crust pies, but it takes up less space and it's good for smaller packaging. So C is the most popular. Then we have E, and then we have B. Now,
B is in Bravo.
B is Bravo. That's in between C and E. B flute is in the Chicago market the thickness of most pizza boxes. It gives you more strength. So C being the most popular and strongest fluting, B is used not only for pizza, but what we call die-cut boxes. So we make catering boxes, soup boxes, coffee boxes, and those are mostly made out of B flute. And that gives you more strength than the E. So if it's a smaller box, we like to use E, and sometimes we use B. Then to really confuse us all, we now have F flute, which is thinner than E flute, cosmetics, clamshells. We make, for those who don't know what a clamshell is, if you went to McDonald's or Burger King and needed a hamburger, that box is called a clamshell. We make those out of F flute. Takes up less space, but again, a hamburger is 4x4x3. You don't need the thickness of the other flutes.
So, Rich, let's talk about, you've mentioned the different grades of fluting. Let's talk about the grease barriers you just mentioned and coatings and what's important when it comes to like graphics printing on some of this packaging as well. Can you maybe touch a little bit on that?
Sure. In the direct food content of a box, such as a box that you would serve wings in or ribs, the grease penetrates through the board and you want to be able to have something to prevent it. There's poly-coated board, which is used on paperboard, and that's applied directly at the mill. So we buy rolls of paperboard from mills and convert it into boxes. We also have the ability to apply a grease barrier. It's like a varnish that we apply using a printing press, and that is just as good, in my opinion, as the poly and easier to get. Thirdly, we have what we call an OPP coating, a polypropylene coating that we can apply, and this is on paperboard that we line the bottom of the box. It's like taking a piece of saran wrap and lining the bottom of a box. In corrugated, we can also apply specifically for the clamshells with the direct contact boxes, this grease barrier coating as well.
So, Rich, I have a question when it comes to coatings. The actual goal of a grease barrier coating is to not allow it to penetrate, so it darkens the actual and weakens the container from the outside. Is that correct, Rich?
Especially if you have something like wings that have sauce on it,
Yeah.
that without some kind of coating or poly would go right through the bottom of the box.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So, Rich, let me move us forward a bit. Let's get into some success stories. I'm just going to start one that I know about, and it was during the pandemic, Rich, and then you can just take off from there and move around some successes. But um, for all the listening audience, I was with Rich on the phone for hours, and we came up with a tray. The healthcare industry during the pandemic was afraid to use dishwashers and to trust dishwashers for the elimination of all bacteria, all types of pathogens and stuff. So there was a need for, at least what I was hearing about, there was a need for a disposable tray, a one-use tray to move to all the rooms as well as the help and in the cafeteria. So I was asked to come up with a tray by a large medical group here in the Midwest. I did that through just talking with Rich and drawings back and forth. And when I say drawings, guys, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. Okay, Rich showed his professionalism and his experience by being able to easily comprehend what we were asking. Rich, I'll let you finish on those trays. I will let everybody know that I never sold one, but your company sold millions, and that's a good thing.
Well, I certainly sold a lot. Nick did too. Down here in the Southeast.
Yeah, it was a big help during the pandemic.
Right. And I haven't sold.
That's okay. So I step up to the plate, Hody. Come on now.
All right, I got you.
Well, thank you again, Jack, for that request. It really helped my business tremendously. And we still sell some today. We probably have sold close to 10 million trays already.
Wow.
Since we started. And it all started because of Jack Hody.
Great story.
It was easy for me to design this because I've been doing this a while. So I have great sample makers and told them what I needed and instantly, and I thought it was a fabulous idea. So I ran with it. The Edward Don has sold more than any other distributor that
wow, what a great shout out for them.
Yeah.
Do business with. So thank you again.
Certainly a great success story.
Yeah.
I still have a couple in the garage, and I know that, you think about large festivals or gatherings now that everyone's kind of back doing this stuff. There's going to be a need for it. It's just a matter of when that opportunity will pop up because it is a really easy tray to put together. Yeah. And you couldn't have made it any easier between Jack, your vision for it, and Rich putting it together to showcase it. And it's like 1, 2, 3, or I know it's the corners of everything's flat, but it's very simple. So I think that there'd definitely be a need for it in the future.
I've got a quick success story, not only about the disposable craft food tray, which is awesome. I have worked with PBI, and we have done this now for almost 7 years. Rich and I were able to source a piece of business here in the Southeast. It was about a 95 store C-store opportunity, and we provided from the start about 3 different boxes. The process that we went through with Rich and his team was unbelievable. How Rich stayed with us every step of the way. He and his team, they cut samples and prototypes, and this was a major decision for this C-store group, and they are a very profitable and well-known group. We don't want to mention any names, but however, still today we are enjoying 2 different boxes, window boxes that were paper coated and lined and logoed. And Rich, I got to tell you, it was just an absolute pleasure. I know there were some bumps and things got tense, but it was a great, great opportunity. And we've been enjoying that business. I can't thank you enough for that. And I know you work with some other major groups. You want to I know there's a few you can say the name. You want to go ahead and share just a few of those?
Our business is generally we go through distribution, whether it be Edward Don, U.S. Foods, Cisco, Bunzl, Imperial. We sell product to all of them. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of national accounts. We sell Chick-fil-a. We sell 7-Eleven. We sell Famous Dave's. We sell Lowe's Southwest Grill, and
Wow.
it's all takeout packaging, whether it be for catering or individual boxes like we did for Chick-fil-A. It just depends. But most of the products that are in our catalog, we stock in our Jersey warehouse, and we also custom print.
Mhm.
Our minimums to custom print vary depending upon the box.
Mhm.
And I think this is a good segue, Rich. You mentioned just that amazing lineup of current customers that are using these boxes. I'm assuming most of them are custom with artwork, and they have designs on them from ranging from your clamshells to custom boxes from all shapes and sizes to coffee boxes. I mean, can you just kind of go a little deeper on just the depth of the lines from, all the way to custom to stock sizes, and who would be a good candidate? Is it only in the food service side, or is there, with the coffee boxes, can you even go over to hospitality?
We have minimums to print, but we have many customers who are from 1 to 50 stores. Our minimum to custom print on most items, whether it be a coffee box, catering box, a soup box, is 1,000 boxes. And clamshells are 100,000, because the nature of making clamshells is much more difficult than these other boxes. So there is another alternative where you take a plain box and you can then put a label on it. So you can buy our stock 8x8x3 clamshells and put a label on it. And now you only have to buy, I think there are 200 in a case. So we offer that.
Excellent.
In paperboard, because it's not only clamshells, we are often asked to make chicken boxes, or
Right.
there we need 5 or 10,000 as a minimum.
Mhm.
If you want to custom print them.
So just a little earlier, you ran through a really impressive list of national type accounts where high volume is the order of the day. Okay. It turns into an annuity. Rich, should that stop the person who is who has a 5 units to 10 units, maybe 12 units regional chain that can't buy like
Absolutely
order
not.
quantity? Because I've been with you and you have been able to. I love how you take operators' ideas and make them into one-offs that they can look at and try and test. And so, Rich, talk about your desire to look at that type of business as well.
So the smaller operator who would want a catering box and has 5 stores should be able to handle 1,000 boxes. Otherwise, as I said, buy our stock box and put a label on it.
Right.
Same thing with a coffee box. I mean, we sell many people who buy our generic box and they put a sticker on it.
Right.
Again, it's only 1,000 boxes. So if you have 5 stores and you're selling coffee on a regular basis, a bagel store or a bakery or a C-store type of operation, then that's not a lot of product.
Mm-mm.
And whether you go through distribution, we do sell some people on a direct basis if there is no distribution in a particular area that we sell to. So if somebody's in Idaho and I don't have a distributor there, then I'll sell it on a direct basis.
Well, we appreciate you being here today with us, Rich. Such great information. What a professional in the business. So great to work with you and your team. But we're going to have to leave it right here today. That's all the time that we have. Rich, we want you to come back with us. Give us some updates soon.
Will do. And I thank you for having me. And as you said in the beginning, it's good to be with friends. So
you're a friend of ours, Rich. A good friend of ours. Thank you.
Keep up the good work, fellas.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rich.
And you the same. Well, listen, folks, if you like to reach any of us here at the Hody Group or Rich Rosenberg at PBI Sales, please check out our show notes for our contact information attached to this podcast. Also, please like, follow, and share the Let's Set Your Table podcast. And if you are so moved, we would be grateful that you leave us a positive review on Apple, Google, or Spotify. We also encourage you to leave us a comment, feedback, or questions and or topics you have an interest in. So we'll see you again next time, right here at the table.
Please join us again for another episode of Let's Set Your Table. If you would like more information, samples, or would like to consult with the Hody Group, you can visit them at thehodegroup.com. That's HODE group.com.